The first time I heard the rumor, I laughed. Desperate, I repeated under my breath. Me, but nobody else was laughing. I noticed it in the way conversations stopped when I walked into the room. I saw it in the way Ethan suddenly looked through me like I was invisible. I felt it in the quiet stares that lasted just a second too long. Then Maya grabbed my arm and whispered, "You need to know what Lena's been saying." I still remember the way my stomach dropped. She told everyone you're obsessed with Ethan, that you keep trying to sit near him, that you're chasing him. I didn't chase anyone. I didn't beg for attention. I didn't even like being noticed. But somehow, I became the girl who couldn't take a hint. And the worst part? She smiled at me every single day like she hadn't just set my reputation on fire. That was the day I learned something dangerous. Sometimes the loudest revenge isn't speaking up. Sometimes it's walking away and letting them choke on their own lies. Chapter 1. The whisper that broke me. The rumor didn't explode all at once. It spread like smoke. Quiet, suffocating, impossible to catch. At first, I told myself I was imagining things. When I walked into class and two girls stopped talking, I smiled politely. When someone looked at me and quickly looked away, I pretended not to notice. But pretending gets exhausting. I was organizing my notes before our marketing lecture when I heard my name. She's doing it again. Doing what? Sitting near him. My fingers froze on the edge of my notebook. I didn't have to turn around to know who they meant. Ethan Cole, student council president. Top grades. The kind of guy professors trusted and everyone respected. And apparently the guy I was desperate for. I swallowed and kept my eyes down. A chair scraped beside me. Lena Park slid into the seat with her usual effortless grace. "Morning," she said brightly. "You look tired." "I didn't sleep much," I replied. "Oh," she tilted her head. "Thinking about someone?" Her tone was playful, light, harmless, but her eyes were watching me too closely. "I was studying," I said calmly. "Of course you were." She smiled. That smile, sweet enough to fool anyone who didn't look twice. The lecture started. I focused on the screen, forcing myself to breathe normally. I refused to glance at Ethan, even when he walked in late and took the empty seat 2 rows ahead. I didn't look at him, but I felt people looking at me. After class, Maya grabbed my wrist. "Library. Now." Her voice wasn't casual. When we reached a quiet corner, she crossed her arms. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Tell you what?" She stared at me like I had just insulted her intelligence. "About the rumor." My chest tightened. "So it's true." She sighed. "Lena's been telling people you've been chasing Ethan for weeks. That you keep accidentally partnering with him. That you texted him late at night. I don't even have his number." "I know that." "Then why would anyone believe her?" Maya hesitated. That pause hurt more than anything. "Because she said it first," she said quietly. I felt something crack inside me. She's popular. People assume she wouldn't lie about something small like that. Small. To them, it was gossip. To me, it was my name. I leaned against the bookshelf, trying to steady myself. "I barely talk to him." "She twists normal things," Maya said. "You volunteered for the same committee?" "She says you did it for him." "You asked him about the assignment?" "She says you were flirting." I laughed, but it sounded wrong. "That's insane." "Yeah, it is." I thought about every moment Lena had been there. Every time she watched me talk. Every time she smiled too widely. "She's doing this on purpose," I whispered. Maya didn't answer, because she didn't have to. Later that afternoon, I saw Ethan near the courtyard fountain. I forced myself to walk up to him. "Hey," I said. He looked surprised, almost uncomfortable. "Hey, I just wanted to clear something up," I continued. "If you've heard anything about me." "It's fine," he cut in quickly. "You don't have to explain." That wasn't comforting. "I'm not." I stopped. My voice felt thin. "I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable." "You're not," he said, but he didn't meet my eyes. The silence stretched. "I have to go," he added. And then he left. I stood there staring at the empty space he had occupied. That's when I understood. The rumor had already done its job. That evening, I found Lena by the campus cafe. "Can we talk?" I asked. "Of course." She looked delighted. "Why are you telling people I'm desperate for Ethan?" Her expression shifted to confusion so fast it almost impressed me. "What? I would never say that. Maya heard it from 3 different people." "Well, that's not from me." She placed a hand on her chest. "Why would I lie about you?" I stared at her. "You think I'm jealous?" she asked softly. "Of you." There it was. The subtle insult. "I don't know what you're trying to do," she continued. "But maybe if people are saying that, you should think about how you come across." The words hit harder than shouting would have. So now it was my fault. "I've never done anything inappropriate," I said quietly. She shrugged. "I'm just saying perception matters." She squeezed my arm gently before walking away, as if she had just given me friendly advice. I stood there, replaying everything. Every seat I had taken. Every group project. Every normal conversation. Was I too friendly? Too focused? Too visible? When I got home, I locked myself in my room and stared at my reflection. "Desperate," I whispered. The word felt ugly. And the worst part? I couldn't prove I wasn't. Because how do you defend yourself against something you never did? The next morning, I walked into class again. Someone behind me muttered, "There she is." I kept walking. But inside, something had already started breaking. And I didn't know yet that this was only the beginning. Chapter 2. Public Humiliation. By the end of the week, the whispers weren't whispers anymore. They were jokes. And somehow, I was the punchline. I walked into class early, hoping to avoid attention. But attention has a cruel way of finding you when you don't want it. "Careful." Someone behind me laughed. "Ethan's already here." A few people snickered. I kept walking. I told myself not to react. Not to give them the satisfaction. I sat down in the 3rd row. Not near Ethan. Not even in his direction. Lena walked in a few minutes later, glowing like she always did. She scanned the room, then smiled when her eyes landed on me. She chose a seat beside me. "Wow," she said lightly. "You didn't sit near him today?" My jaw tightened. "I sit wherever there's space. Relax." She laughed softly. I'm joking. But she wasn't. The professor called our names for the group presentation. My stomach dropped when I heard mine paired with Ethan's. Of course. We walked to the front together. I could feel eyes burning into my back. I opened my slides and started speaking. My voice was steady. I refused to let them see me shake. Halfway through, Lena raised her hand. "Yes, Lena?" the professor asked. She smiled innocently. "I just wanted to say it's really cute how dedicated some people are to group work." The class chuckled. My throat went dry. "What do you mean?" the professor asked. "Oh, nothing," she said quickly. "Just effort is admirable." The laughter grew louder. I knew exactly what they were thinking. Desperate. Trying too hard. Chasing him. Ethan shifted beside me. He looked uncomfortable. I forced myself to continue speaking. Each word felt heavier than the last. When we finished, the professor nodded. Good analysis. But the compliment felt empty. As we walked back to our seats, I heard someone whisper, "She definitely planned that." I sat down slowly. Maya leaned toward me. "She's pushing you." "I know. Say something." "If I speak right now, I'll cry." Her expression softened. "I'm serious," I whispered. "If I open my mouth, I won't stop." The rest of the lecture passed in a blur. When class ended, I packed my bag quickly. I didn't want to look weak in front of anyone. Outside, I heard Lena's voice again. "Wait." I turned around. "Yes. You seem upset," she said, tilting her head. "Did I say something wrong?" "You know exactly what you're doing." She blinked. "Excuse me? You're turning everything into a joke." She crossed her arms. "If people are laughing, maybe it's because they see something. That's not fair." "What's not fair," she replied calmly, "is blaming me for your reputation." My reputation. As if I built this lie myself. "You could stop it," I said quietly. You could tell them it's not true. And why would I need to? She asked. I never said anything. The denial was smooth, practiced. I felt heat rising in my chest. Anger, shame, helplessness. For a second, I imagined shouting, calling her out in front of everyone. But then what? It would become another scene, another joke. Fine, I said instead. Her eyebrows lifted. Fine. I'm done explaining. She studied my face carefully, as if trying to decide whether I was bluffing. Suit yourself, she replied, then walked away. That night, I skipped dinner and stayed in my room. Daniel knocked on my door. You alive? He asked. Barely. He stepped inside and leaned against my desk. What happened? I told him everything. The jokes. The presentation. Lena's smile. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. Do you like this guy? He asked. That's not the point. Answer me. No, I snapped. Even if I did, it wouldn't justify this. He nodded slowly. Then stopped trying to prove something. What do you mean? You're fighting air, he said. You can't argue with a rumor. It feeds on reaction. So I just let her win? Sometimes ignoring someone is the fastest way to make them lose. I stared at him. That sounds too simple. It is simple, he said. It's just not easy. The next morning I made a decision. I would stop defending myself. I would stop explaining. I would stop reacting. If they wanted a show, I wouldn't perform. When I entered class that day, Lena glanced at me immediately. I didn't look back. When someone joked, I didn't respond. When Ethan passed by, I didn't tense up. I became calm. Too calm. And for the first time, I saw something different in Lena's expression. Confusion. She wasn't smiling anymore. She was watching me, like she was waiting for something. But I had nothing left to give her. And maybe that scared her more than my anger ever could. Chapter 3. The Power of Silence. Silence is strange. At first, it feels like weakness. Then it starts to feel like control. I walked into class that Monday with my headphones on, even though no music was playing. It gave me an excuse not to hear anyone. Lena was already there. She looked at me. I didn't look back. I sat down, opened my notebook, and began reviewing notes for the national marketing competition Professor Blake had announced last week. If I couldn't fix my reputation, I could at least build my future. Still ignoring the world? Maya whispered as she slid into the seat beside me. Not the world, I replied quietly. Just the noise. She studied me carefully. You're different. I'm tired. No, she said. You're calm. Before I could answer, Professor Adrian Blake entered the room. His presence always changed the atmosphere. Strict posture. Sharp eyes. No tolerance for nonsense. I will select 5 students for the competition team, he announced. This project will represent our university. My heart beat faster. This is not about popularity, he continued. It is about discipline. For the first time in days, I felt something other than humiliation. Purpose. After class, I approached him. Professor, I'd like to apply for the team. He looked at me over his glasses. Are you prepared for the workload? Yes. You understand this will require leadership? Yes. He studied my face like he was measuring my strength. Submit your proposal by Friday, he said. I will. As I turned to leave, I felt eyes on me. Lena. She was watching again. Later that afternoon, someone new sat across from me in the library. I'm Noah, he said casually. You're applying for Blake's team too, right? I nodded. Yeah. I heard you're good with data analysis. I manage. He tilted his head. You don't talk much. I'm trying something new. Like what? Peace. He smiled faintly. That sounds expensive. I almost laughed. We worked in silence for a while before he spoke again. Can I ask you something? Depends. Why does everyone act weird around you? The question was direct. No judgment. Just curiosity. I hesitated. There's a rumor, I said finally. About me being desperate for someone's attention. He blinked. That's it. That's it. He leaned back in his chair. You don't look desperate. How does desperate look? Loud, he replied. You look tired. The words hit me harder than they should have. Tired of what? He asked. Explaining myself. He nodded slowly. Then don't. I'm not. Good. That was it. No lecture. No pity. Just acceptance. The next few days followed the same pattern. Lena tried small things. Oh, you're staying late again? She said one afternoon. Working hard? Or waiting for someone? I didn't answer. During lunch, she posted a vague message online. Some girls just can't take a hint. Maya showed me. You're not reacting? She asked. No. She's escalating. I know. And that was the strange part. The less I reacted, the harder she pushed. But something else was happening too. People were starting to notice. Sophie Grant approached me after class. Hey, is it true? What Lena's been saying? I met her eyes calmly. Do you think it is? She hesitated. I don't know. I barely talked to him, I said simply. That's what I thought, she admitted. It doesn't make sense. For the first time, I saw doubt in someone else's face. Not doubt about me, doubt about her. Friday arrived. Professor Blake posted the selected names on the department board. I forced myself not to hope. When I saw my name at the top of the list, my breath caught. Team leader. Maya gasped beside me. You did it. Noah grinned. Guess I'll be reporting to you. I felt a small, steady warmth in my chest. Across the hallway, Lena was staring at the board. Her name wasn't there. For once, she wasn't smiling. She looked at me slowly, waiting, expecting a reaction, a smirk, a glance, a victory expression. I gave her nothing. I picked up my folder and walked past her. Congratulations, she said softly as I passed. I paused. Thank you, I replied calmly. No sarcasm, no anger, just control. As I walked away, I realized something. Silence wasn't weakness. It was strategy. And for the first time since the rumor started, I didn't feel like the girl being talked about. I felt like the one being watched. And this time, it wasn't for the reasons she wanted. Chapter 4. Cracks in her mask. Becoming team leader changed something. Not just in others. In me. When Professor Blake handed me the project outline, he didn't smile. He never did. Leadership is not about being liked, he said. It is about being respected. I understand, I replied. Do you? His eyes held mine. Because respect is harder to rebuild once damaged. I knew what he meant. Yes, I said again, steadier this time. Our first team meeting was in a small conference room. Noah arrived first. So, boss, he said lightly. What's the plan? Don't call me that. He grinned. Fine. Leader. Before I could respond, Ethan walked in. My stomach tightened for half a second. Then I reminded myself, calm. He avoided my eyes at first. Looks like we're teammates, he said finally. Looks like it, I answered. No tension, no bitterness, just neutral ground. 2 other members joined us, Sophie and a quiet finance student named Aaron. We started discussing ideas, data strategy, presentation flow, budget projections. For 2 hours, no one mentioned rumors. For 2 hours, I felt normal. When the meeting ended, Ethan lingered. Can we talk? He asked quietly. Noah glanced between us. I'll wait outside. I nodded. Ethan rubbed the back of his neck. I owe you an apology. For what? For believing what people said. I held his gaze. And what did people say? He hesitated. That you were trying to get close to me on purpose. And you believed that? At first, he admitted. Lena made it sound convincing. There it was again. Her name. She said you'd been asking about my schedule. That you kept volunteering for the same committees. I volunteered because I needed the credits. I know that now. Do you? I asked softly. He sighed. I'm sorry. I searched his face for pity. There wasn't any. Just regret. I'm not desperate, I said calmly. I know. The words felt different this time. Not defensive. Just factual. Thank you, I replied. He nodded once and left. When I stepped into the hallway, Lena was standing there, waiting. You two seem close, she said casually. We're teammates. She smiled thinly. Of course. I studied her carefully. You look stressed, she added. Do I? A little. That's strange, I said evenly. I feel fine. Something flickered in her eyes. Annoyance. You're acting very confident lately, she said. I'm focused. On what? My work. She stepped closer. Or on proving something. I don't need to prove anything. Her jaw tightened. You think you're better than everyone now? I think I'm busy. That did it. For the first time since this started, her mask slipped. You're pretending, she snapped quietly, like you're above it all. I stopped reacting. I corrected. That's the same thing. No, I said calmly. It's not. She stared at me, searching for cracks. You're enjoying this, she accused. Enjoying what? The attention. I almost laughed. You created the attention, I reminded her. She opened her mouth, and then her phone buzzed. She glanced down. Her expression changed instantly, from anger to panic. What? I asked before I could stop myself. Nothing, she said too quickly, but I had already seen the notification. A message from Sophie. We need to talk. Now. Lena walked away without another word. That evening, my phone buzzed nonstop. Maya called me immediately. Have you seen it? She demanded. Seen what? The screenshots. My heart skipped. What screenshots? Sophie posted them in the group chat. I opened my phone with shaking hands. There they were. Private messages. Between Lena and someone else. Lena. If I say she's chasing him, people will believe it. Lena. She's too quiet. It's easy. Lena. I just need to plant the idea. My vision blurred. She planned it, Maya said. All of it. I scrolled further. More messages. Mocking me. Calling me predictable. Saying I needed to be put in place. I felt cold. Not angry. Cold. There was proof now. Real proof. My phone rang again. Unknown number. I answered. Hello. Silence for a second. Then Lena's voice. You think you've won? She asked, her tone sharp and uneven. I didn't post anything. You didn't have to. You did this to yourself. Her breathing was shaky. You don't understand, she said. You don't get what it's like. What is it like? I asked quietly. To be replaced. The words hung in the air. Replaced by who? By you. I closed my eyes. I never wanted your place, I said. You took it anyway. I earned mine. She was silent. For the first time, she had no clever response. No sweet smile. No careful manipulation. Just silence. And it sounded fragile. I have to go, she muttered. Lena. She paused. I didn't fight you, I said softly. You fought yourself. She hung up. I stared at my phone for a long time. The rumor that broke me was finally breaking her. And for the first time, I saw fear in her voice. Not control. Not confidence. Fear. Chapter 5, The Shift. The next week felt surreal. People were still talking. But now their words weren't sharp. They were hesitant. Careful. Watching me but not to mock. Started small. In the library, Sophie approached me. Are you okay? She asked. I'm fine, I said. Why? Because Lena's messages. I didn't know she could be like that. I shrugged. She's just insecure. Sophie hesitated. You're handling this better than I would. I smiled faintly. I stopped reacting. That's all. Even Ethan noticed. He approached after a lecture. You're different, he said quietly. Focused, I replied. He looked at me for a moment longer. I should have realized sooner. I let her lie get between us. I don't need you to realize, I said calmly. I just need to move forward. That evening, Lena tried again. I saw her in the hallway. Hey, she called softly. Can we talk? I stopped, waited. She looked nervous, unsure. I didn't mean. You didn't mean? I interrupted. You planned it. You posted screenshots. You lied. You manipulated everyone around me. Her eyes widened. I didn't think it would get this far. Too late, I said. For the first time, she looked small. Her confident mask cracked. I just didn't want to be ignored, she admitted. And hurting others made you feel seen? I asked quietly. She couldn't answer. I turned and walked away. Later that week, Noah invited me to review our presentation strategy. You're handling her well, he said, sliding into the seat beside me. Most people would have exploded by now. I don't want to play her game, I said. You're not, he said. You're doing something stronger. I smiled faintly. Thanks, I think. He laughed softly. Seriously, people are noticing. Even Ethan. I didn't respond. I wanted to see it for myself. The day of the competition, Professor Blake gathered the team in the auditorium. You represent this university now, he said. Remember, leadership isn't about being liked. It's about earning respect. I nodded. Noah squeezed my shoulder. You got this. When we went on stage, the room was full. Faces from other universities. Judges. Faculty. I started speaking. My voice was steady, controlled, confident. Every slide, every word, I felt my focus sharpen. I glanced at Ethan in the audience. He nodded once. No pity, no doubt, just respect. When I finished, the applause was genuine. Professor Blake's eyes met mine. Well done, he said. You've earned it. Backstage, Noah grinned. You killed it. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. We did it, I said. For a moment, I forgot the rumors, Lena, everything else. Later, Maya called. Did you see her? She's crying, I said calmly. Alone in the hallway. Maya's voice was sharp. Good. Karma doesn't rush. It waits. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Across campus, I could see Lena trying to compose herself. Her usual group was avoiding her. No one laughed at her jokes. No one whispered conspiracies about me anymore. They whispered about her. I realized something strange. I didn't feel satisfaction. I didn't feel gloating. I felt relief. Because the truth had won. Not because I had screamed it or posted it or fought back publicly. Simply because I had refused to react. The shift in power wasn't about revenge. It was about presence, control, silence, strength. Even Ethan approached me later, after the crowd had cleared. You handled everything perfectly, he said quietly. I just stopped fighting, I said. Sometimes that's the hardest fight, he said. Noah appeared beside him. You've become the center of attention without even trying. I looked at them both, a strange warmth in my chest. Funny, I said softly. She spread rumors that I was desperate, but ignoring her made me untouchable. Noah laughed. Yeah, untouchable. I realized something else. This wasn't just about her. It was about me, my growth, my strength, my calm. For the first time in weeks, I felt free. And Lena? She finally understood what it felt like to lose control. But it wasn't my job to teach her. It was her own lesson to learn. And I wouldn't ruin my peace chasing her apology. Because I had already won. Not by shouting. Not by proving anything. By refusing to give her power. Chapter 6. The breaking point. The quiet power I had built didn't last long before Lena tried one last move. She cornered me outside the library that afternoon. Can we talk? She asked, her voice low, almost pleading. I stopped. My chest tightened. About what? You know what, she said. Her hands trembled slightly. Everything I did. I need to explain. I studied her carefully. She looked smaller than usual. Vulnerable. Afraid. I don't need your explanation, I said quietly. I've already moved on. No, she said quickly. You don't understand. I was scared. Scared. I echoed, raising an eyebrow. Yes, she shouted, then lowered her voice. Scared that people would notice you more than me. That everyone would like you better than me. Her confession hit me. For a moment, I almost felt pity. Almost. So, I said slowly, hurting me made you feel safe? She hesitated. I didn't want to lose my place. I didn't want to be invisible. And in the process, you made me a target, I said, keeping my voice steady. Do you get that? Yes, she whispered, her eyes filled with tears. I never wanted it to go this far. I panicked. I didn't know what else to do. I looked at her, really looked. She was crying now. Not the fake tears she had used before in front of others. Real tears. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Because I need you to know the truth. I can't lie anymore. I stayed silent. Silence had become my weapon, my shield, my way of staying grounded. You could forgive me, right? She asked softly. You could fix this. Make people think I didn't do anything. I shook my head. No, Lena. You need to fix it yourself. This is your lesson, not mine. Her face twisted with panic. But I'm losing everyone. My friends, my reputation. They hate me now. And, I asked quietly, and I don't know what to do, she admitted, voice trembling. Then that's your choice, I said firmly. You chose to hurt people to feel safe. Now you're dealing with the consequences. She swallowed hard. You're not going to. I'm not going to save you, I interrupted. And I'm not going to destroy you. I'm staying out of it. Because the only person who can repair this is you. Her knees nearly gave out. She grabbed the edge of a bench for support. You're calm. How can you be calm after everything I did? I took a deep breath. Because I stopped letting you control me. Your lies, your rumors. They were never mine to fight. She stared at me. Her chest heaved. For the first time, she wasn't pretending, wasn't smiling, wasn't manipulating. She was just human. I didn't think you'd survive it, she said quietly, almost in awe. I did more than survive, I said. I grew stronger. Her lips trembled. I ruined everything. I looked at her calmly. You ruined your peace. You lost control over something you thought you could manage. That's your lesson, not mine. She tried to speak again, but I shook my head. I'm done talking. She looked at me, her eyes wide, searching for anger or revenge. I gave her nothing. Go, I said softly. She turned and walked away slowly. I watched her shoulders slump, the confident mask completely gone. When she disappeared around the corner, I realized something powerful. I had expected relief, satisfaction, triumph. Instead, I felt lighter, not because I had won over her or anyone else, but because I had refused to let her define me. Daniel had been right. Silence, patience, and focus, these were stronger than any argument, any explanation, any public defense. And now Lena finally understood that power isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself. I walked home slowly, feeling the weight of the past weeks lifting. The rumors, the humiliation, the betrayal, they no longer mattered. I didn't need to chase anyone's approval. I didn't need to prove myself. I had already taken back my life. And as I looked at the city skyline from my window that evening, I knew one thing clearly. I had survived. And survival was just the beginning. Chapter 7, Rebuilding Myself. After the confrontation with Lena, life felt quieter. Not empty, not boring, just quiet. I focused entirely on the national competition. Professor Blake's expectations were high, and I liked that. It forced me to think beyond rumors and whispers, beyond who liked me and who didn't. Noah sat across from me at our first team practice after the incident. You're intense, he said, scanning my notes. But in a good way. I can't afford not to be, I said, flipping through slides. He leaned back. You're different now. Calm, but sharp. Better than angry? I asked. Much better. He smiled, but there was something more in his eyes. A curiosity, a quiet respect. Ethan walked by our table. He paused, glanced at me, then nodded. A small acknowledgement, but it felt like the world shifted slightly in my favor. I ignored it, not because I didn't care, but because I didn't need it. The team meeting started. Sophie and Aaron were ready with ideas, and Noah had suggestions that actually made sense. Okay, I said, here's the plan. Data presentation first, then a short analysis of market trends. Aaron, you handle the numbers, Sophie, visuals. Noah, support where needed. Got it, Noah said. The meeting felt normal, collaborative, free of tension. No rumors, no judgment, no one pretending. After the meeting, I stepped outside for a moment. The sun was warm on my face. Maya found me. You've changed, she said softly. I think I finally stopped letting her control me, I replied. Good, she said. You've earned it. I didn't smile. Not yet. But inside something was lifting. The next week was preparation, practice, revisions. I spoke more than I had in months, but each word felt purposeful. Each decision mine. During a late practice, Noah approached. You don't seem nervous at all. I'm focused, I said simply. Focus doesn't feel like enough, he said. You're different, and people notice it. I glanced at him. Do they? Yes, he admitted. Even Ethan. Even Sophie. You're confident without needing to prove anything. I let that sink in. When the day of the competition arrived, my nerves were calm. Not because I wasn't anxious, but because I was ready. The auditorium was filled with students, professors, and judges. I led our team to the stage. Professor Blake's eyes met mine. Remember, he said quietly, control your voice. Own your space. I nodded. We began our presentation. Slides clicked. Words flowed. Every point clear, precise, deliberate. I glanced at Ethan in the audience. No judgment. No hesitation. Just acknowledgement. I looked at Noah beside me. He was grinning. I looked at Sophie and Aaron. Focused. Composed. I realized I hadn't been this calm in weeks. When the judges asked questions, I answered confidently, relying on facts and preparation rather than emotion. By the end, applause filled the room. Genuine, heartfelt. Professor Blake stepped forward. Excellent work. Team leader, you handled the presentation and your team flawlessly. Well done. I felt my chest expand with quiet pride. Not because of revenge, not because of rumors, but because I had built something real. Outside the auditorium, Maya ran up. You did it. We did it, I corrected. Noah joined us. See? Calm works better than yelling. I smiled faintly. Yeah, it really does. As I walked back to the dorm, I thought about Lena. Alone. Losing control. Crying in the hallway. I didn't feel satisfaction. I didn't want to. I felt peace. I had focused on myself. My growth. My team. My goals. And in doing so, the attention I had been denied for weeks finally found me. Naturally, effortlessly. People approached me with questions, respect, and interest. Not gossip. Not judgment. Just genuine acknowledgement. I realized then that the best revenge isn't words. It isn't exposure. It's life well lived. Quiet strength. Consistent action. Refusal to give power to those who try to take it from you. That night, I sat by the window, looking out at the city. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel desperate. I didn't feel anxious. I felt free. And I finally understood. She spread rumors that I was desperate. But by ignoring her, by focusing on myself, I became untouchable. And that was a feeling no rumor could ever take away. Chapter 8, Her Regret. A week later, Lena approached me in the library. Her usual confident stride was gone. She walked slowly, shoulders hunched. Can we talk? She asked quietly. I looked up from my notes. Calm. Focused. Not tense, not nervous. You want to talk? I asked evenly. Yes. Her voice was small. Vulnerable. I wanted to apologize. I studied her face. She was genuine this time. No masks. No smirk. Just fear and shame. Lena, I said quietly. You already know what you did. I know. She swallowed hard. And I see now I shouldn't have lied. I shouldn't have spread rumors. I hurt people, especially you. I'm sorry. I stayed silent. Let her words hang. Let her feel the weight of them. I don't expect you to forgive me, she said, eyes watery. I wanted you to know I regret it. I hear you, I said calmly. That's enough. Her hands trembled. Do you hate me? I don't, I admitted. I'm done hating. That's your burden to carry. She blinked, surprised. Just done. Yes. I closed my notebook. I've learned something through all this. You can't control people by lying or manipulating. The truth has a way of coming out. She nodded slowly. And you handled it perfectly. I underestimated you. Not perfect, I said softly. But I stayed true to myself. I didn't react the way you expected. Her lips trembled. I lost everything. My friends, my standing. I didn't realize how fragile it was. Now you do, I said. And that's a lesson you can't unlearn. She exhaled shakily. I never meant to destroy you. You didn't, I said. I survived. And I'm stronger because of it. Her eyes filled with tears. I just wish I could fix it. Then start with yourself, I said gently. Stop hurting others to feel safe. That's the only way to rebuild anything. She nodded again, taking a shaky breath. Thank you for not retaliating. I didn't need to, I said. I focused on me. That was more powerful than any revenge. She looked at me for a long moment. I could see the weight of her mistakes in her eyes. I hope one day you can forgive me, she whispered. I don't know if I can, I admitted. But I won't spend my energy hating you. That's yours to carry. She nodded once, quietly. I understand. And then she walked away. For the first time, I saw her fully stripped of her power. No lies, no manipulation, no control. She had lost it herself. And I didn't need to touch it. The rumors that had tormented me, the lies that had poisoned days, the humiliation, I had survived all of it. Because I chose calm over chaos, strength over reaction, silence over fighting. I closed my eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of the past weeks lift. I thought about Maya, Noah, and Ethan, people who had believed in me, who had stayed by my side. I thought about myself, the girl who had once felt desperate, exposed, powerless. And now I was standing taller, stronger, untouchable. Not because I shouted, but because I stayed true. The last message she sent later that night said simply, I see now. I'm sorry. I smiled softly. That was all I needed. Her regret wasn't my triumph. It was just proof that truth and patience had their own power. And for the first time, I felt free. Chapter 9, Moving Forward. The days after Lena's apology felt peaceful. No whispers, no snickers, no tense glances, just normal life. I walked through campus and noticed people smiling. Not at me, but around me. Respectful smiles. Genuine acknowledgement. Sophie waved as I passed. Noah joined me for lunch. Even Ethan stopped to say hi. Not awkwardly, not hesitantly, but like we were equals, like nothing from the past weeks had shaken what we could be. You look lighter, Ethan said quietly as we sat on the grass. Maybe I am, I replied. Or maybe I just stopped carrying unnecessary weight. He smiled faintly. I'm glad you didn't let her get to you. I couldn't, I said. I had to choose myself first. Noah nudged me. You made ignoring her look effortless. I think people are still talking, just about how unshakable you are now. Good, I said softly. Let them talk. I've got bigger things to focus on. For the first time, I realized how much of my life I had wasted worrying about her lies, about her manipulation, about what people thought. I didn't waste it anymore. Team meetings became smooth, efficient. We planned the national competition presentation flawlessly. Every member contributed, every voice mattered, and I finally understood what leadership truly meant. Not control, not attention, but guiding, listening, and taking responsibility. During a late-night practice, Ethan stayed behind. You know, he said, I didn't realize how strong you were until all this happened. I wasn't strong, I said. I just stopped reacting. Strength is quiet sometimes. He nodded. I like quiet strength. It suits you. I chuckled softly. Thanks. I guess it finally does. That evening, as I walked back to my dorm, I saw Lena sitting on a bench, alone. She glanced up when she saw me. I stopped. She looked smaller, fragile, still regretful but calmer. Hi, she said softly. Hi, I replied. She hesitated. I just wanted to say, I'm really sorry. I'll try to fix things, starting with myself. I believe you, I said. That's all I need. You have to carry your own lessons now. She nodded, swallowing hard. I hope I can. I think you can, I said quietly. It won't be fast, but it's possible. She looked at me for a long moment, and then, without another word, she stood and walked away. I continued walking, feeling lighter with every step. It wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about being noticed. It was about reclaiming myself, my peace, my focus. The rumor that once defined me had lost its power. Lena's lies had lost their control, and I had gained something far more important. Confidence, calm, and clarity. The competition day arrived. Our presentation went flawlessly. Professor Blake nodded at me with pride. My team members smiled. Ethan gave me a subtle thumbs up. When we left the auditorium, the city looked bigger, brighter, more alive. I breathed in deeply, thinking about all the weeks of chaos, humiliation, and manipulation. I realized I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. It had taught me patience, resilience, and the quiet strength that comes from refusing to react to those who try to break you. I met Maya at our favorite cafe later. You look unstoppable, she said. I feel unstoppable, I corrected, because I stopped letting others define me. She grinned. Finally, the girl who was desperate is gone. The real you is here. I smiled softly. And I'm not coming back. That night, I sat by my window again, looking at the city lights. I thought about Lena, about the rumors, about every cruel joke and whispered word. It didn't matter anymore. I had survived betrayal. I had endured humiliation. I had remained calm while chaos raged around me. And now I was free. Free to grow, to learn, to live, untouched by her lies, unshaken by gossip, and unafraid to be myself. I whispered into the night. She spread rumors that I was desperate, but ignoring her made me the center of attention. Not because I fought, not because I shouted, not because I begged for attention. Because I chose myself first. And that is everything.